Welcome to the Call Her Sam podcast. I'm Sam Chibwe. Today my background looks a little bit different. That's because I'm at plot 674 Mabombo Crescent, a Nationalist Park. I'm speaking to, or I'll be talking to rather, to Ronnie Rich Sampat, who is an activist and a fitness influencer. But in this situation, I kind of like to refer to him as an avenger or maybe a maverick, if you will. Now, if you've been following this story on social media, you know that Ronnie and the community have been spending 21 nights straight, 21 nights straight, Ronnie and his community, 21 nights straight in this park, sleeping in this park. How many of us will actually do that? That's the question I need to ask you. But before we get into that, Ronnie, thank you so much for coming through, for doing this.
Thank you for having me here, and excited to see your podcast thrive, make a difference to people, and reach all the relevant eyes and ears to really be inspired by whatever your podcast mission and objective is.
Thank you so much. So walk me through this day one. What was that like? How did you find yourself in the park?
Yeah, it was Wednesday. It's a regular day that I am finished my workout at home and I'm going to the gym for some additional training. I come out of my road and I normally turn right, and in that moment I want to just be grateful to my elder brother, who calls me quite frantic saying, "You've got to come to the park now. These guys are chopping down trees, they're starting to dig stuff. There are a number of residents here annoyed. You've got to come now." I'm rushing somewhere, he was rushing somewhere else, says, "Go there now. We've got to stop what's going on." And instead of turning right on that particular day, I turned left, not knowing turning left led to me becoming what you might call today an activist, an environmental activist, or who knows, the beginning of something else. But I turned left and we came to the park, and what we found here was a big digger that was digging a boundary wall foundation, we believe. We've seen 6 trees are chopped down here, and the 7th tree, this tree was being chopped down, and in that moment we stood in front of this digger, this big yellow machine which could easily pulverize us.
That's how many people standing in front of it?
It was just me initially. Okay. But the power we used is not our physical force, not even screaming or yelling, but I think it's the power of social media today. And we held out a phone on live Facebook, and this live we asked them that they've got to stop. And when we came here, we were slightly in a state of panic because there was a whole host of people running around. We didn't know who they were. I didn't know if they were the developers. I didn't know if I was going to antagonize them and they were going to attack me. Instead, what I found out that those other people were also concerned residents. And call it destiny, call it fate, call it a blessing from above, but everybody came together at the same time. We were all emotively called into action. When I say called into action, not just people passing by here, but the next road, the next residential area as far as Lechwe, people from Buchi, from Kamitondo, had also come up here to just hearing what works were happening the day after Independence Day. And we went and spoke to the person with this machine to say, for your safety, you've triggered an emotive part of the residents here. This part is not up for development. This is designated for public use. And we're inviting you to stop what you're doing. Of course, they're just a contractor.
Yes,
but they're acting on behalf of who has hired them, and we ask them that to please, for the safety of them, for the safety of all the residents here, that they please halt their works. The people in the vehicle, the employees of that company, were very understanding. They stopped works, and next we got together with a bunch of residents, strategizing around what do we ought to do next. And there were suggestions around this legal action and that document and this letter. And personally, my view was, I think we need to do something visual, given it's on social media. And so I suggested what we do is we camp over here, and I rushed to game stores, spent about 10 grand worth of tents, and we bought some tents here. And normally I would very much hesitate to go and spend that money on anything. I probably didn't buy my own tents for my own camping, and yet for here I didn't think twice. And we got a number of tents. We invited a number of volunteers, some youth nearby that we found, and they all willingly agreed to join the protest.
So you're saying you spoke to the people who were working for the developer. Had the developer himself come through, how was that scenario going to...
Well, actually, it so happened after this happened, we had to look at now what next. So the first thing we did was we're going to the town clerk's office. He needs to put a stop to this. So we drove collectively a number of vehicles, 9 individuals in total, various members of the community. We drove straight to the town clerk's office on Facebook Live, We went there, we found he's left, he's gone to the district commissioner's office.
Okay.
Again, on Facebook Live, we went to the district commissioner's office, which is about a 5-minute walk from the town clerk's, from Kirwe City Council, and we found he's also left with the town clerk, and we said, we're here and we want an answer from you. He kept us waiting in the boardroom, unknown to us at the time. We were being kept held there. We were being told, wait there, I'm coming back. Instead, the district commissioner, the town clerk, and the said developer came here, and my brother who was here, plus other protesters were here. We understand that developer came here, started getting slightly agitated, maybe angry. There were some raised voices, we understand, telling these people they cannot protest. What are they doing? They've got right and permit to do this. And so it felt like we were made to wait there.
Yeah,
The very angry group kept aside, while ZNBC and various elected officials were here, trying to look like the situation is under control. But that didn't last too long, because we caught wind of the story. We came down and we continued our protest. We started to set up camp. We put up the tents, and we got a number of people coming together on that particular day.
Okay, so how many people turned up in total?
At its peak, we've had up to 70 people here come together for various gatherings. Over 21 days, we've had a barbecue in the park. We've had pizza in the park.
Wow.
We've played football so many times, in fact, multiple times a day over here. Over the 21 days, we've popped 7 footballs because these grounds are not safe. We've done a cleanup by hand. We would love to do a cleanup by grader, but we aren't given permit to do so. We've identified that over this period, this park, which should really be for well-being and health purposes, has had broken bottles. There's been drug abuse. There've been needles and stuff around here. We've cleaned that up manually with our hands, and still there are still bits and thorns and pieces, and this half-cut tree, which has been the cause of damaging our footballs, and also not safe for people to walk around barefoot here.
So you're camping out here. How long are you thinking? Or like, are you thinking, okay, I'll just be here for like maybe 3-4 days, and I'll be back home?
Yeah, I mean, the day it started, that was 25th of October. I think it was on the 28th or 29th, we were told, was the court hearing. So we thought, oh, brilliant, it's only a night or two. That's how it all starts off. And that looks very digestible. 1 or 2 nights we'll be here.
You're outside.
Yeah,
you're outside.
Exactly.
And this is like we're approaching rain season.
It's rainy season. There's been heavy lightning. There've been very strong winds. While we've had 70 people in the day, at night there's been about 15 campers on average. That's been the average number of 15.
Okay.
And so it's varied on certain nights. We've had anything from 3 to 4 tents, 5 tents across the period. We've had gazebos, shelters that were set up and damaged by the wind, damaged by the rains. We had one of our tents actually catch fire because the wind blew the tent into the Mbaula, and it caught fire. So there's a hole in one of our tents. We continue to sleep in there. So we've gone through material damage by being here, and we've gone through material loss by being here. But after 2 days, we found that day the judge didn't show up to court, and instead what happened is that this then turned into, we're told it was adjourned till 13 November. And when you hear 13 November, that was a whole 14 days away. It, like, your heart sinks when you hear that you have to wait that long.
I can imagine.
And we're like, how long can we do this?
Yeah.
Can we do 1 or 2 more days, and can we maybe engage security or some other thing to secure us? But actually we got no assurance from the council. The council said, in their words, our hands are tied. Now, how does a developer who needs council permit to cut trees is able to impose an injunction on the council from impeding his works? Which is really, really interesting that we tolerate and allow such lawlessness to happen in our country.
That makes no sense. Their hands are tied?
Yeah, their hands are tied. They're the authority to give permits, and this developer has put an injunction on them from stepping on the land, which means they couldn't stop him cutting the trees, in their words.
Wow. Okay, so I'm looking around, and obviously it's not exactly comfortable.
No,
it's not built for comfort. Obviously, we're not looking for comfort here. You're protesting. You're standing up for the park. You don't want any developers to come here. So it's a casino that was supposed to be.
So we're here that a permit has been given. To build a casino, right? And a casino is right in the middle of a residential area, a high-cost residential area with 2 beautiful nurseries. This is where kids come here. And kids are going to be exposed from a very young age to what a normal city looks like when they see a casino. and of course it's illegal to have in Zambia, but word or rumor has it that where casinos are coming up, also attached to that are adult services in some of the back rooms. So we don't want that kind of a place to be here, which shows literally a devaluation in society, in a demoralization in our society. And when will community put their foot down and stand up and step up and use their voice to stand for the positive values that we want to see embodied by our residents and citizens here?
So are you expecting the outpouring of support that you receive?
We have received great support. I'm grateful for the media coverage. I think we've had about 8, 9 or 10 media teams who've come here, various TV and radio stations. We're very grateful for the likes of Hype FM, for Diamond TV, for independent podcasters or radio journalists like yourself who've come here. We've had ZNBC come here, but I must say that at some points we got concerned, because when we've been trying to call media here, we're getting a response from a representative from media saying we've been called by so-and-so official to not go to the park. And it's very concerning, where we have freedom of speech, freedom to assemble, freedom of self-expression, and yet the media, who are supposed to cover what's happening of the citizenry, of the people, feel that they cannot show up unless they're given the right directive by the right official. So when we've had political presence, when we've had ministers come here, we've had the Copbelt minister come here, we've had the MP for Nkana, Binwell Mpundu come here, Copbelt minister has also been here. We've had, which is from Ndola, who's been here. We've had Permanent Secretary Tabo Kawana, who's been here. We've had other permanent secretaries. We've had the mayor and the town clerk have been here when I've not been here, but I understand that they've been here. The deputy mayor, who's a councillor, Malasha, has also been here. And so, the couple of Mr. Elisha Matambo I slipped his name from him, has been here. So, and within 3 days, I want to really express gratitude. Within 3 days from starting the protest on Wednesday, by Friday, this was a topic in Parliament. Thanks to Nkana MP, who raised this topic to the Vice President. So Mutale Nalumango was in that Q&A session, and we were grateful to know that it has reached that level. And we've spoken to or had communication with various other ministers who haven't come in person to really express to them, what are we, the residents, looking for? What would give us peace for us to pause the protest, or give us some assurance that what's being done is for the people?
So from my understanding, I know there's an injunction that's been forced to stop any works.
Correct.
Progressing. So let me just ask you, if it had gone in the other direction and no injunction was put on, what was your next move going to be?
Well, our next move is, we've got to kind of have our next steps planned, is the way this protest has worked. Yes. And also, when you get angry, when we're emotive, we can't think clearly. So some days in, we had to even pause and get clarity. What are we asking for? What does success look like? Right? And that's advice to anybody else, that when we protest for something, let's get clear, let's agree, first of all, on what's the disagreement. Right? What are we disagreeing on? We're disagreeing on this being used for anything other than public recreational facilities, right? And this thing not being for commercial or private use. This is for public, right? Yes, it can be commercialized in the sense that it needs to be sustainable as a public facility for its maintenance, right? But also at something at an affordable pace. But we had to, the first thing we wanted to do was, we're gathering here to protest that, first of all, this injunction of any works be stopped. If for whatever reason, and I don't know how it would go in the favor of, ironically, he's the plaintiff in this case, because he's the one putting a complaint against the council and another one resident. If it had gone in their favor, well, firstly, we would have continued to be camping here physically. But our next move would have been to, and we're still looking at this because there are a certain number of steps we want to do, is to have a letter to the President, the Office of the President, because we understand that the President, he has powers to cancel title, and to also the Ministry of Local Government and to the Minister of Lands. And what we had intended and planned to do, and we've been debating and discussing and consulting, is to do a peaceful protest, a peaceful march from here to Plot 1 in Lusaka, which is a 353 kilometer
So wait.
distance.
You're going to walk
That is what we wanted to do.
From here to Lusaka. Okay.
And our arithmetic was slightly off compared to other people who have done this nature of a walk.
Okay.
We consulted somebody like Dumisani in Chube, who's somebody who's done this.
Yeah.
And he's done from Kasumbalesa to Lusaka. And he told us we've got to budget 10 or 11 days. So the day we had scheduled to start would have meant that by about day 5 or 6, we haven't reached, and it would be November 13th, and the court ruling would have happened.
Yeah.
And we might have been slightly ineffective in our stance. If the next steps do not happen in our favor or at the pace we wanted to see, we may still need to look at doing such a peaceful protest so that we can have the highest authority hear our plea.
I'm still stuck on you guys walking to Lusaka.
Yeah. It has to be done, and something of that nature and extremity we believe will get the relevant attention of the masses. But because this is not just a Parklands Park issue, this is not Nationalist Park issue, the whole of Kitwe have been sensitized by this. I've been inundated with, yes, congratulatory messages and messages of support, but inundated with people saying, after this, can you come to Buyantanchi and help me with this piece? Can you come to Nkana East and help us deal with this? And what about our Freedom Park? Is that still free and available to us? And how about in Congo Way? Can you take care of this green space? So suddenly I'm being turned into, we or the group, the pilot group, it's not me, there is a lot of people together with me that have come together for this, are being turned into, hey, can you guys come and help us with this matter? And the best way to do this is rather than us fix every problem one by one, is we want to have a blanket approach where we can sensitize all the people to be involved for their green spaces, and so that we can collectively protest. But as we walk through the cities, we've had people reach out from Luanshya. Luanshya, this beautiful park, I forget the name of the park as you drove into Luanshya. Beautiful green space, completely now it's built upon structures. They don't have a place to go and hang out and chill. Right, most of what's happening to our design of our cities, we're having to jump in a car and drive out 30 kilometers, 15 kilometers, 10 kilometers to some outdoor private place where you have to pay an entry fee to go and sit there, or to use a pool, or to use a football court. We need that accessible for people, for the youth that don't have a car every day, they don't have somebody to drive them out there, and they can walk in their local neighborhood and kick a ball. Right, so that's what we're standing for. But we find that Luanshya, Ndola, Chingola, Lusaka, people are reaching out, asking if something can be done for also their area, right? So this has become a national issue. We want it to be a national issue. It should be something that we, the people, should have confidence in our voice to hold our councillors and our elected officials accountable.
So have you experienced any harassment from the developers? Maybe perhaps they paid some people to come and harass you guys, or?
Well, we were concerned about that. We were vigilant every night. One thing I can say is that we've done this very peacefully. We've also done this, to be honest, in quite a vulnerable position, unarmed, in the sense that we've had no security, we've had no arms on us or anything. We really intended to deal with this peacefully. We were completely putting our lives at stake, that if anything happens, it will happen. We have had what I want to call soft intimidation. The first couple nights we had a vehicle come, we believe an associate of the developer, who came here and was, we asked, like, what is he looking for? He says he's looking for somebody. So we've had conversations with some suspicious vehicles come over here. We've had other unrecognized vehicles, some in tinted windows, come over here, whose number plates, we've noted over the days. They are monitoring. We had one instance where somebody came, but in that case we believe he was intoxicated, and he decided to call a number of the youth, and he says, I'll give you money to leave this place. And so what their intention was, who's behind this, we don't know. But these kinds of events have happened, and it did give me concern. I've had my own 6-year-old son join me. He joined me on day 2. He spent the night here with us. On day 3 that happened, I got a bit concerned as a parent, and I thought, look, we need to let all the youth know the risk, and all their parents should be aware of what's happening here, and the parents need to consent that this is what their youth are choosing to do.
So the youth at no point were like, okay, no, where? If it gets crazy, we're gone, we're not here.
I must tell you that I'm very impressed by some of our youth. These are 16, 17-year-old youth. I was telling them, I said, are you guys okay? Are you safe in case this and that happens? And they're telling me, don't worry, Bwana, we've got you safe, we've got you protected, we'll take care of this. And so it was very comforting to hear this from the youth, and some of these youth are very resourceful. I really detest, I don't want to use the word street kids, because it implies that these people don't have a home. But everybody that's been here has a home. We know their homes in Kapoto, we know their homes in Chipata compound, we've been to some of their homes. We have a youth whose mum, Martin, she sells vegetables on the corner. He helps mum every day. He's in grade 7, he's written his exam, and after his exam, the day his exam finished, he says, "Mum, I'm going to camp with these guys." And he's joined us since. He has an aunt that he stays with in one of the nearby homes. Okay. So this is very much Martin's park, right? And we are standing here for Martin.
Yes. This is something where he can come and just play some football with his friends and just hang out.
Yeah, that's Martin actually. That's our Martin.
How are you? We'll talk to Martin a little bit later. But you say your son was with you.
Yeah, my 6-year-old boy.
6-year-old boy. So obviously he's a family man.
Yeah.
On top of everything else. So how has this been on your family? I mean, you're an activist. You are camping here 21 nights straight.
Yeah.
I know, watching you from your stories, you do go home in the mornings.
Yeah.
But then at night you're here.
Yeah. Every night we're here. Sometimes lunchtimes we're here. Sometimes afternoons we're here. Weekends we're here a lot more hours. In the evenings, a number of people would come just to have an evening drink with us, like a tea or a coffee or some snacks or biscuits, and we would gather around. Yeah. But the impact on the family, I didn't realize this till actually just on last Friday. Somebody was doing an interview with me and they wanted me to ask what's been the impact on your family. So on Thursday night I paused and asked my wife, what's this been like for you? And she just goes, the first 2 nights I couldn't sleep. I literally thought that whoever that developer is going to plan to harm you or kill you. So I thought you were going to be shot. I thought you were going to be killed. That was her concern. And I probably have a different risk metric, and so in my case I just felt that we've got to do as people, somebody has to put their voice on the line, their reputation on the line, their name on the line, their life on the line. And it is key that when we start a protest or a movement, there's got to be a central figure or a central team. And I just happened to be that common denominator at the start. And if I wasn't there, I felt if we had left, then there would have been a slight diffusing in the energy that we had. And so it is something I had to sacrifice my time, my work hours, my business hours, my family time, to prioritize what we do for the community. And in fact, one of the days my wife was yelling at me, "Why are you doing this for them? Are you not thinking about your family?"
Yes, I was going to ask you, how is that not taking a toll on you?
It was having a toll, and my response to her is, I don't think you see yet, or you don't understand yet, how I am doing this for the family. I do want my kids to be able to walk out of the home, not have to drive somewhere, to be able to go and play football and kick a ball. And we have had youth from when I grew up playing here in the 80s, kick a ball, that today have become international footballers, that have played here, that have trained here. Right? And so we can do the same for this current youth generation. They will be tomorrow's international football players if we can create world-class facilities here.
And how has this been for you personally? Your mental,
I think my mental and my emotional resolve, I'll be very honest with you, it just has to be unmessable and impeccable. So I've really had to prioritize my well-being. And part of that is to make sure that I don't get distracted by a lot of other stuff going on, so that I don't allow my mood to dip. I don't get entangled in other things going on elsewhere in my social circles, or like gossip or anything that will dissipate my energy. I need to ensure that I am proactively preserving energy to focus on this. While I'm doing this, I'm in the middle of running one business. We've started a new project or program on there. There's another business. There's a third entity in the microfinance space that I'm looking now to partner with and start something. And all this is happening in these 21 days. And so I've had to really be mindful of how I leverage time. I have had some physical pains, but that's what the body does. The body indicates to you, you're putting it through some discomfort. I've had backache, I've had neck ache. I've been going for a window of physio sessions and massages and painkillers. I've had to do that for some of the nights, but it is what's required to ensure that we do the needful for our focus.
But listen, I'm just thinking, you get the news, this is what's happening, the developers coming through, cutting down trees, wanting to put up a structure. I'm thinking, okay, someone comes up to me and says that. The very least we'll do is, oh my goodness, that's so sad, what are we going to do? Oh, the most action we'll take is just, I don't know, maybe complain a little bit, maybe 3-4 days, and just be like, oh well, there's nothing we can do, and just throw our hands up in the air. But the fact that you chose to say no, you stood up and said, we're not going to let this happen, it's too much. Because they've taken over our parks, they've taken over spaces, and built these unnecessary structures that the town doesn't need.
Look, that's what angers me the most. And this, I want to say, is a message to Zambians. This is a message to Zambians, to citizens and to residents of Zambia. It's about time. It's really about time we stop being seen and we stop being docile about such matters. This is our future. Literally, we're reaching a state where we're selling everything for a price. We're going to be selling our children next. You literally are going to be start selling your kids' organs if there's a right price for that. And we cannot be doing that anymore. I'm telling you that globally, global wealth and resources are in Africa. What are we doing selling everything away? When we look at the measure of global wealth, they look at gold reserves. With the reserves come from Africa, they get processed elsewhere, and then they get deposited in a bank, and their currency is strengthened while ours is tanking. People, it starts from protecting that piece of land outside your house, protecting your home, protecting your parks. We've got to bring a little bit of fire inside of us. That passion should have a zero tolerance approach to really giving up what is our future, right? We've got to operate based on certain values and principles. And we've got to have this anger to a level that, why are we okay with politicians get away with such, councillors get away with such, elected officials get away with such? Let's get very clear, we elected them in office to serve the citizens. And when they're not doing that, we should use our voice, and use our voice very quickly and very loudly to put a vote of no confidence on those people. We should really be doing that right away. And we need to bring a little bit of fire. I must say, you know, here we're in Zambia. I think, I'm going to be straight here, and I'm going to call one out on us Zambians. We're docile over such. You know, we sometimes use the name of religion to allow, to tolerate and forgive. You go to a country like Kenya, there's fire in those citizens. They don't tolerate nonsense like this. They don't tolerate this. They really verbalize and put into action once they see something is happening in their land that is unacceptable. We see this also in places like Nigeria, in Ghana, in South Africa. We need a little bit of more fire and conviction that we, the people, can make a difference, right? Right now, people are thinking there's nothing we can do. There's resignation. There's resignation about how politics work. If we voted for change and we say time for change, we should be the change. Be the change in how you use your voice. Be the change in how you get angered and pissed off when something is happening in your community. Because tomorrow you'll be the same people to leave this, and you'll go overseas and you'll see greener pastures. Why? Because we sold our green. We sold our green pastures. So please draw a line under that. Let's create the new Zambia.
Last question. Political aspirations.
Political aspirations.
How are we feeling about that? Because I'm looking at you and I'm listening to you and I'm like, there's something here. Something's gonna happen.
Well, you know, I'm raised here in Zambia. Grew up here.
Yes, please tell us.
Right.
Give us a note.
Well, my family have been here from when it was Northern Rhodesia. My grandfather came here in 1953. Oh. Right. He came here. He started off as a young guy as a chef on an Arab dhow from India, and moved initially to Mozambique, which was then West Africa, was Portuguese, whatever it was called then, which later became Mozambique. They then moved into Rhodesia, which was Northern and Southern Rhodesia, and initially in Lusaka for a period, and then in the late 50s settled in the Copperbelt, right, between Kalushi and Kitwe. There was apartheid going on, and I want to tell you something I'm really proud of, being a grandchild to my grandfather, when there was apartheid going on, and during the era and period, I'm not too sure if you're familiar with why our first president, Kenneth Kaunda, became a vegetarian. Kenneth Kaunda became a vegetarian because during that period, if you had to go and buy meat, you had different entrances to shops. There was an entrance which said, a label which said whites only. There was a different entrance which said Indians and coloreds only, right? The term coloreds here refers to the mixed race in that time and era. And at the back, there was not a door. There was a window which said blacks only. And that's where you had to go in to get your meat, right? And my grandfather is one of the first people that sealed off that window in their shop when they went into business, and had only one entrance. And it was only one entrance for anyone and everyone. And that is what we want to see, the humanitarian principles that I have connected to this earth, and I'm of this soil. We've been here before the name Zambia was coined, right? Our heritage and our family. And I would love for us to, all of us in Zambia, of Zambia, should be seen as people that know they can alter the trajectory of their country. And so if I were to go into politics, anything I would do in politics would solely be where I have the conviction, and the people have the conviction in me, that I can represent them to really alter the trajectory of, firstly, our city, our province, our country. And politics is really not about my personal preference or choice.
Yeah.
And like I said, if I end up in politics, it was simply the decision of, instead of turning right and going to the gym, I turned left and I wound up in politics. And so, you know, it would be something I would get into if the people deem that I'm somebody that could make a difference to their concerns, to their needs, and to their cause.
I can see you're already making a difference, because this is, in so many words, I don't have the words literally, because like I said, not many people will stand up and take a stand and be like, no, you cannot do this, we're not going to let you do this. But you came through and you said, literally, we're like, no, we're going to camp out here for 21 nights. We're going to sleep no matter how uncomfortable it is, even if we get rained on, even if the heat is coming down on us like crazy.
We've had lightning. We've had lightning.
Lightning. I have to commend you, sir.
No, thank you. Well,
for doing this, because and the community as well, because kudos to the community as well, because not many people will come and support. Had this been someone else, I wonder how this would have gone. But you have the community behind you, rallying behind you. You've been active on social media. You've been talking about this hashtag, the Save Kitwe Parks.
Save Kitwe Parks.
Save Kitwe Parks. So it's not just this park. We're looking at.
We want to preserve all the green spaces, and I thank you for that. But I really want to reiterate this. This is not an individual operation. This is not about me. This is not a solo operation. We have up to 15 youth who have been here, right? They've been here over this period. We have many residents. We have my elder brother who's also been with you. While I've slept and tented here, he's parked every night in a vehicle on the side. We've had another resident, Tyler Mukuka, who also is parked here for almost all the nights. We've had various people from this community who've come together. You know, we've had elders who've been here from the start. We had a lot of people who are working in the background. They're working in the background, and many of them, you know, they want to kind of remain anonymous. They are great contributors. They are generous donors to what's been being provided to the youth. We've had our neighbors provide stuff for the youth. We've had the local nurseries offer access to a shower, access to toilet if need be. We've had a portable toilet brought in here to make it easier for us and to keep hygiene at a certain standard, because easily we could, just in this park, you could start a cholera outbreak if we don't have hygiene taken care of, right? And so we've done so not just peacefully, but as responsibly as we can, keeping people informed, keeping things accountable and transparent, and keeping you know, all the concerned residents up to date.
Well, you have my vote.
Thank you.
If you do decide to go the political route, you have my vote.
Thank you so much.
You have my vote.
Well, we'll see where this takes us. But firstly, we want to do what's first. We don't get too ahead of ourselves. The first thing we want to do is we want to secure something, and we want to make a world-class template, a blueprint, an example of what's possible of green spaces and of parks in and across Zambia.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you for being transparent. Thank you for being open. Appreciate that. Not many people will come through and just be open and transparent. Most people will try to be like, well, you know, it's this, like this, but you were just open and transparent.
No, you're very welcome, and I really all the best to your podcast. May it fly, may it thrive, may it really reach the ears and eyes of people.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, you heard it for yourself here, ladies and gentlemen. He is, like I said, he's an Avenger. In my eyes, he's an Avenger. He's a maverick. Ronnie Rich Sampat, activist and fitness influencer, who could very well be going to the political route, ladies and gents. So this is someone you need to keep an eye out for, because he's making waves. He's making waves. He's doing big things. So I'll say goodbye now. So catch me on the next episode. Leave me with a little positivity. You never know what someone will be going through. Everyone's going through something. Just always be kind and always be compassionate. Until next time. Awesome.